Did I ever tell you the time that I basically made, like, you know when you go to Comic-Con and stuff like that and you look at people buying stuff and you're like, at least I'm not that guy.
Yes.
This is my
I know
experience
exactly what you mean.
where I'm like, oh my God, I was just that person. This entire story, you're going to be like, this is some cringe level stuff.
Ooh, I'm ready.
I got to take you guys back to the year 2019.
Oh, what a time.
Dude, that was so long
What
ago.
a time. Do you remember 2019 when we could like go outside?
This story actually takes place outside.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is
like a fantasy now.
This was right as Star Wars Land was opening in Disneyland, and
that was only in 2019.
Yeah.
Dude. Jesus.
It opened, like, I remember because people were talking about it, and I was like, we need to go to Star Wars Land, and it's like, well, pandemic's here, and they've closed it. I was like, ow. So what had happened was my family was over. We had family members coming from the UK. They wanted to go see Disneyland, and I was like, I like going to Disneyland, and it's actually getting paid for me, so you know what? I'll go do that. So when I'm going over there, I had read about Star Wars Land, and I read about how there is a ride at Star Wars Land that is literally you waiting in line to go into a shop and buy something for a large amount of money.
Wait, so like the Fairly Odd Parents, like, we're at Escalator Land, and he's like,
Yes.
when do we get to the ride? And I go, this is the ride. It's like, actually, though.
They were like, okay, so here's the thing. It's called the lightsaber, it's like a lightsaber workshop.
Oh, that's dope, though.
You're literally going into a store, but it's like you have to wait in line as a ride, and then it's just like while you're there, they're pretending like you are actually there to buy a lightsaber, and
you have to like actually make it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think my dad told me that he almost cried doing this.
They're treating it like a Padawan, basically.
Yeah. It takes place within the sequels, so they're like. You're more on, it's like on the edge. It's like an illegal building of a lightsaber.
Okay.
And because the idea is that all these lightsaber parts are like scrapped pieces that people have found because you're in a junkyard.
After the purge, okay.
And so I'm like, I gotta do that. Like I don't go to Disneyland that often, and this just sounds really.
That sounds so cool.
So
Shit.
I look it up, and I think it's like $225 to do, and I'm like, well, I mean, I have the money, like it's not that big of a deal. So I download the Disneyland app and I put it in, and I'm like, all right, I have just scheduled an appointment. Like, you can do that. And I'm literally looking at all the appointments, and it's like, all right, you either need to get the one that is literally right in the beginning of the day or right at the end of the day.
So you're talking about, like, you either need to do it at, like 7 a.m. or 11 p.m., basically?
So I was like, well, it'd be more convenient to do it at 11, but I'm probably not even going to be there that long. So I'm just going to wake up early. And you know what? I'm like, we have, because we're staying in the Disney hotel, we get there an hour early. I'll be right there when it opens. So I'm waiting in, we go inside and I'm talking to some family members. And as I'm walking through, I look over and I'm like, all right, I know I can go to Disneyland through there. As I look over there, I see a bunch of park employees. I'm like, sorry, sir, but, the Disneyland area over here is closed up until the park's opening. And I'm like, oh, only some of the park is open in that first hour. I didn't know that. Okay.
Neither did I, yeah.
And I'm looking around and I'm like, I can't actually get into Star Wars Land. Like, there's no waiting by the store. I need to get there immediately. And then I think about it, and I remember something really important. When I got the appointment, it said, if you do not show up, we are just going to take the money anyways, and you need to show up at least within 15 minutes of the appointment to, just verify that you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so normally you'd have 15 minutes, but I scheduled it at 7:10, and the park opens at 7, so I actually have 10 minutes, and I need to get over there. And I'm looking at that $225, and I'm like,
oh, that went down the drain.
Okay, I can do this. And I'm like, I go to my family and say, I'm going to lose a lot of money if I do not leave you right now. You guys have fun in Fantasyland. And I'm waiting like it's like the LA Marathon. I am like standing and I was right in front of Adventureland. The doors are open. It's going to be like King Kong. And I'm just standing there, a bunch of other people waiting. They're like, oh, we're going to Star Wars Land. I'm building a fucking lightsaber, bitch. Doors open, 7:00. Usain Bolt. That's me sprinting through.
Naruto running through.
Every single park employee is standing in a line of like 10-foot interval, being like, "Don't run, sir. Don't run, sir." And every 10 feet, I stop and I go into a saunterly jog. "Oh, I'm not running." And then as soon as I cross, past, I'm like,
They're gonna be like, I was running so fast, I was going faster than speed of sound, I couldn't hear them.
and I'm just it's like, "Don't run, sir. Oh, don't worry me. I'm just okay. Oh, now I'm gonna run. Don't run, sir. Okay, well I'm now." And I'm just thinking about how far I need to run because I'm like, holy shit, Disneyland is way bigger than you think. And I am just sprinting as people are saying don't run. And there's like a horde. It's like Black Friday just opened up and there's one TV left. And I am just sprinting along and I'm running as fast as I can. And I'm like, whew, I'm not in shape. This is literally the most Star Wars fan experience I can be having right now. And I look over. There is like a 40-year-old man. And he is booking it like double the speed as me, holding on to his 3-year-old child, and he's moving so fast that they're practically lifting off the ground because of the drag. And I'm like, okay, I'll get there second. Like, it doesn't matter. I just need to get there.
Yeah, you get behind him and start drafting.
I just need to get there. And so I'm running through it. I'm not even looking at the fucking big-ass X-Wing that I'm running past. I don't got time for that. I'm not looking at the store that's selling regular drinks but in Star Wars-themed bottles. I get right into the place, and I'm like, I have no clue where this lightsaber place is. I'm looking at my watch, like 6 minutes. Ooh, 4 minutes. That wasn't too bad. 6 minutes. I need to find this place right now. I'm looking around, and it's like just off the corner. I go, okay, I got it. And now, from this perspective, you are now going to be the Disneyland employee that was just wanting to start their day.
Oh, I got to get in character. I want to die.
Well, you got to smile the entire time.
I want to die.
Stop the lights. Okay. I have and they are looking at me like I'm just waiting for this person to say a word. Like I am just
any word. Yeah, frankly.
I'm like, okay. So I a lightsaber and I have an appointment, and they're like, do you have like a name? I'm like my name's Jeremy, and they're like, okay, okay, here you are. And I'm like, I got here, and they're like, that'll be $225. And immediately I was like snapped out of the. I'm like, you want to run that one by me again, sir?
All energy has come back to your body just to be mad.
I was like, I already bought the lightsaber. You have my debit card. Like, I gave that to you. And they're like, yeah, that's true. That was more of just verifying that I guess you had the money, not necessarily that we were even taking it. And I was just like, what? Okay.
Why not then just
here's my card. They put it in, swipe. Your card's been declined, sir.
Fuck!
What?
And I was just like, excuse me, I'm here to buy a lightsaber.
Have you ever had your card declined before?
I have. There's been times where there just wasn't any money in my bank account.
Okay,
But usually it's like, oh, okay, hold on, give me a second, I'll just move money into it.
Yeah.
But at this point, I was like, I opened up my bank account, I'm like, I have money. Like, that's very weird. And
more money bags over here with money.
More importantly, I'm like, hey, can we try that again? Like, maybe you just swipe it. Like, yeah, no problem. They swipe again. Sorry, your card's been declined. And I'm like, okay, here, I have like $100 bill in my wallet. Can I split the purchase? $100 down. Then the $125 will go through. Like, yeah, sure. Sorry, the card's still declined. I'm like, really? And I'm just sitting there like, okay, now I'm running into the issue of it's not that I'm not going to have a cool lightsaber. And I even asked, I said, look, am I going to still be like charged because, I can't pay for this. I did show up to my appointment. And they were like, this is a weird circumstance. We are not going to
just steal your money.
Yeah, and I was like, thank you, because the fear of me losing the money because I could not spend the money was in my mind as like, that is the most ironic way to not have money. That's like capitalism attacking the poor level inconvenient.
That was a bit of a redundant statement, Jeremy. Capitalism always attacks the poor.
You got me there. And I'm like, oh, that sucks, because I was going to build a lightsaber, and I was going,
yeah, we all know that's the sound the lightsabers make.
And I'm like, well, at least I can buy the soda bottles that are Star Wars that are Star Wars themed with
the soda bottle. I just
have
have to suck the soda out of like R2's dick. Like that's where they put the straw.
Is that an actual thing? Where can I buy this?
No, I just always say, like, I went to Universal and I got one of Bumblebee, but like it's on his head, but it flicks open. Yeah, you were there, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And it flicks open and it's like, that's just Bumblebee's head dick.
I know what you're talking about. I went in and I bought a drink, and it was like, your card's been declined. I'm like, I know I have $5 in my bank account. Do not cross me, Disneyland. And I went back to them. I said, excuse me, but I have money. And they said, your card was declined. I was like, I know. I don't know why, but I feel like there was a bit of a misunderstanding because I can see in my bank account that I have $5. And they're like, have you tried calling the bank? And I was like, I have not. But I'm going to do that now. I call up the bank.
I feel like we've all watched a John Mulaney bit recently because we all keep breaking into John Mulaney today.
I call up the bank. Phone is at 5%.
And we're going to frame you for murder.
My phone is at 5%. And I'm just sitting there like,
Wait, hold on. I have to back up. It's like, what time is it? Like 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
Or 7:15
Could
roughly?
be.
And your phone's at 5%.
In my defense, it either didn't charge properly because I'd been up a few hours beforehand actively looking through the Disneyland app.
I'm taking this away from
Okay,
you.
that's fair.
Here, just
Jeremy keeps throwing the clip off of the microphone from 2 weeks ago, if you remember. He fucking did that too.
At one of these points, like, he's gonna hit one of us in the eye or something.
You're both wearing glasses. You'll be fine.
It'll go through the glasses. That's how they work. You see through them, idiot.
So I call my bank and they're like, here's the automated thing. They're like, you have 7 fraudulent purchases on your card. And I'm like,
And now it's panic time.
and I was like, run them by me real quick. And they were like, at 7:15 a.m. today, $225 for a lightsaber. I'm like, okay, that one makes sense.
Yeah.
At 7:14 today, $225 for a lightsaber.
Yeah, sure, okay.
And I'm just going through this list. I'm like, these are all the purchase I was getting declined on. How is this the fraudulent purchase? And then it's like, at the very end, it's like, 2 weeks ago, you bought 50 cents worth of gum at a CVS. That was more than likely not you, because it's only a mile from your house. And, it was 1 a.m., but at the same time,
Who needs gum at 1 a.m.?
they're like that. Like when someone steals someone's credit card, it's always the minuscule purchases that they go for. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna hang up now. This has been cleared. I go back, and I'm just like, I guess my phone is probably gonna be dead. I have no way of contacting my family because I left the group and now it's dead. But at least I have this fucking lightsaber.
Yeah!
And I go in and I'm like, here's my card. I think you'll find the correct amount of money on it. And I go in and they're like, what style of lightsaber you want? I'm like, Sith, because I've never been more angry in my life.
And then he slaughtered all the children.
Yeah, and then he slaughtered all the children in Disneyland.
I was easily, and the entire time I was like, by the way, I had money the entire time. I don't want any of you to be thinking that I was poor. And they're like, sir, we do not care. I'm like, I know you don't. But I had...
But I have money, right?
Not anymore, because I just bought the lightsaber. But there was money in the account. And I go in, and I am like, I think I'm 23 at the time. The youngest person, besides a parent, is like 7. And so it is literally...
Really? That's so surprising to me.
And I'm literally sitting there like, look, I just spent like $225 to build a lightsaber. And watching parents have like 3 kids all buying, I'm like, holy shit. No wonder Disneyland is making money. Like, to just drop like practically $1,000 onto...
For 3 glowing sticks? Like...
Jesus. You could just go to Target, buy each one for $10.
Yeah, right? Like,
I will
they
say,
don't need a custom lightsaber.
No.
I bought mine very early, so I think actually since then they have added a whole bunch of new parts.
Yes, I know for a fact after Jedi Fallen Order, the game got like really popular, they added Cal Kestis's blade and like hilt and everything, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I know that...
Which I have a problem with, because they're like, it's Cal Kestis' lightsaber. Motherfucker, that is Jaro Tapal's lightsaber. You didn't play the game, Disney!
Anyways, this is cracking open a cryptid.
Man, I had to rush for the can.
I'm Jeremy Savage Tate. That's Tyler Shively.
It's true.
This is Adrian Castro.
Allegedly.
Wow!
Whoa.
You don't remember his name?
No, actually, when I said that, I was like, I really hope I'm not just naming a Mexican name.
No, you got it right.
And this is Adrian Lopez.
And this is Antonio Banderas.
Antonio, I love you.
Whatever happened to Antonio Banderas? He was
became-
everywhere for like a while, and then he just disappeared.
I'm still expecting him to come back and be like, "Hey, my name is Tony B," and just be like, "What's up, Tony B?"
God.
Adrian, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Bob Lazar.
Adrian, what's a Bob Lazar?
Bob. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know who this is?
No.
right.
Assume I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
yeah.
anything.
All right, so this is a rabbit hole that I fell down through. I didn't know who this guy was until like maybe 2 weeks ago. And then I found out, and like I've been obsessed about this for like 2 weeks now. I changed the order of the episodes specifically because I just want to rant for a second.
Okay,
Yeah,
so this is a passionate one.
Yeah, well, because like I think on the list, and you know, for future episodes, we had like Chupacabra next or something.
Yeah, so
I
Goat
forgot.
sucker.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
a goat sucker. Fuck you.
Whoa.
Okay. I was just saying my favorite 2 words in a row.
What's that Bo Burnham bit where he's like, you ever just say a string of words and you're like, these string of words have never been said before? Or it's like, low mortgage Gatorade dolphin. That's the first time that's ever been said.
But yeah, so like, all right, so Bob Lazar, he is allegedly a
Is he psychic?
no,
Is he allegedly named Robert?
actually maybe I don't know.
Yes, his name is probably Robert.
Is it? Well,
What do you think Bob is short for, buddy?
Bobbert. See, aren't you a fucking idiot not knowing that?
All right, continue.
All right, so he is a man that has come out in.
Oh,
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to our very gay friend and listener Lindsay. That joke was for her.
Yeah. All right. So 1989, this dude came on. What was it? Las Vegas TV. It was like some news station out there, under the pseudonym Dennis. So yeah, and it's like the classic like face hidden behind a freaking white sheet. Like it's just a shadow. Voice modulator. Yeah. And he claimed that he worked in a facility called S4.
Oh, hey, okay, I know this. Alien brain going off. When you're like Area 51, that's where they keep the aliens. That's how you know you're a fucking poser, because they don't keep them in Area 51. There's a mountain range around Area 51 that has special hangars built into the side of it. And if you know you're into like alien shit, when you recognize that it's not Area 51 that has that, that's just like an Air Force base. S4 is the one where they supposedly actually keep all the alien shit.
Correct.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, that's news to me. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the whole Area
Poser.
51 shit. Yeah, we know that as of 1989 because of Bob Lazar. He came out.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the one who was like, yeah, so like we have the space and there's an alien spacecraft
I think
there.
I might know who Bob Lazar is, but I just didn't know his name.
Yeah, so that's him. So like he came out and said this exists. There's a ton of technology there, by the way, and he specifically was there to reverse engineer a alien spacecraft that they just like found. Like it was an archaeological discovery. Like it wasn't the whole Roswell like situation.
Yeah, it wasn't like a crash and they picked it up. It was just like they were digging somewhere and they're like, "Is that a dang old UFO?"
Is that what they would say?
Yeah, they found it in like Alabama.
Oh.
Yeah.
The dang old UFO.
And then the guy's stepsister came out.
Okay. Then that is where that train of thought is ending.
Yeah. So
Step alien, what you doing out here?
all right. So first off, it's not just one spacecraft. The first one was an archaeological discovery, but since then they have found 9 spacecrafts that they have been trying to reverse engineer.
Okay.
The one that he worked on was he coined it the sports model because it was small. It was like
Interesting.
yeah.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Sure.
And I don't know if you have the answer to this because I feel like this is only something that my stupid brain would think of.
Mhm.
Do you know, or are they aware, if the ships are of different alien designs or if they're all just different models from the same empire?
Apparently they all look more or less the same,
Okay.
but pretty much all of them are manufactured out of a metallic substance that's similar, but it's not the same as stainless steel.
Interesting. Okay.
Regular steel.
A slightly stained steel.
I think I solved that one right there.
I do know that in a lot of alien wreckage stuff, they talk about the metal is malleable. Like you can easily bend it and stuff, but you can't tear it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like the same substance?
It's pretty much the same substance.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, isn't that most metal?
But no, like I mean, you can just like it'll reform its shape. It has like memory and stuff.
Oh.
But like think of like silly putty. If you could stretch and pull silly putty, but you can never tear it.
Mm-hmm.
It moves like that, but like just slightly tougher.
I can tear silly putty.
No, but this metal
I see.
feels like that, but you can't tear it like silly putty.
Yeah. No.
I'm not calling you a pussy. I know you can tear silly
But
putty.
I thought that they were like,
just
silly
calling you a
putty
goat sucker.
can't be torn, and I'm just like, I've never tried. Is this a thing that is an issue in the world?
Yeah, so one time people picked up silly putty and they were like, that's it. If you stick two pieces of silly putty together, you have one piece of silly putty now.
You're stuck. I was like, well, what if you stretch it out and it's long? And I was like, then you just have a long snake. Maybe you couldn't tear it.
No, but yeah. So like, he came out, said that, and just lit the entire I think we talked about like at that point, like everyone was looking up to the skies.
So are you able to remind me what year this is?
This was 1989.
89. Okay.
I was listening.
Yeah. See, so like everyone heard this and was like, "Holy shit! Area 51, aliens. We have alien spacecrafts, but whatever."
So are you saying that like the common idea of Area 51 wasn't around until 89?
The idea of Area 51, it was kind of floating around, but it wasn't like mainstream.
This is like how it's solidified.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was around since like the 50s.
Well, yeah. Well, when Roswell happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought that was when people were like, that's where the aliens are. But I guess it was just an Air Force base at that point.
See, it makes sense to me now that that we'd all be like, oh, Area 51's where they kept. If some dude just like only a few years ago was like, yeah, that's where they are. Like suddenly it has.
Yeah,
Area
like
51
literally
has,
just like 32 years ago.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. We're just like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. In a subsequent interview, like I think it was like 2 months after that initial interview, Lazar just showed up on TV unmasked under his own name. So he said that this interview, it was from like this contractor, but essentially he said that he was actually hired by the U.S. Navy to work here, and the reason they hired him,
Not the Air Force?
he said the Navy.
I'm sure.
Are they getting
weird,
like the
right?
sea aliens?
Sorry.
Salians.
This is making me laugh last episode too. Adrian's wearing a Mario Kart t-shirt. and Mario's obviously in the front, but he keeps, every time he moves forward, his shirt folds in a way that just like basically shaves Mario's mustache. And it's really funny to me for some reason, just a prepubescent Mario. And I just keep looking down at his shirt. And also, it doesn't help that Yoshi is right behind him, just trying to lick my boy's dome piece. Like, look at Yoshi. Tell me he doesn't want to get a big old lick off of Mario's popsicle head.
Jeremy?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to believe it. What the fuck is happening with Donkey Kong there?
That's not Donkey Kong. That's Donkey Kong Jr.
Oh, that's okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Who is now the current Donkey Kong. There's a weird, like, lineage of Donkey Kongs. Well, the original Donkey Kong from, like, the original one is Cranky Kong now. Yeah. And that Donkey Kong Jr. became, like...
He became Donkey Kong
from,
proper.
like, Donkey Kong
like
Country
how we know him
games
now.
and, like, in Smash and stuff.
Oh.
And then Diddy Kong is just unrelated. He's just some fucking kid who showed up with a peanut gun that shoots in spurts.
So... S4.
Yeah, so like Bob Lazar came out and was like, "Oh yeah, like I actually got contracted by the Navy, so through this company called EG&G." So,
I'm sorry, read the name again.
EG&G.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like a name of a human.
No.
I was like, what?
No. EG and like the squiggly like and symbol. G.
What did it stand for? Egg. Oh, it doesn't stand. It does stand for egg.
I actually have no idea what it actually stands for.
I don't just call it egg. EG&G.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like a joke or a rebuttal, but like I just agree.
Yeah.
And that's the worst possible reaction I can have to anything you say.
It's like they're like, yeah, we got a famous government organization. We call it the CAKE, and it's like, why don't I just call it cake?
And they just go, shit. So every villain is lemons, otherwise known as evil.
So some people after this interview like decided to let's research this Bob Lazar. Let's start with the company that contracted him, Egg.
Yeah.
So they contacted him and
formerly known as EG&G.
So they contacted Egg, and there are no records that he got hired by EG&G.
What the fuck? Like that doesn't that just prove that this is bullshit?
Yeah, right.
Hang on. So Lazar,
I feel like that's the worst. That's the one thing that we say to Jeremy every episode that I think he hates the most. Where we go, hang on,
Yeah.
Hold on to that thought.
Yeah, I say hold that thought.
Yeah. So previously he so he got
Previously he was in a chicken
previously he was in a chicken
because then he became
but
in an egg.
No, wait, but didn't he first? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
See, that's a fallacious question to start with, because the real question is what came first, the chicken or the chicken egg, in which case it would be the chicken, because it can't be a chicken egg without a chicken. But if you're asking what came first, the chicken or the egg, eggs existed before chickens existed.
So yeah, Egg.
Yeah, so no records from an egg. So okay. He earned a master's in MIT, right? He was a physicist.
Why don't they just call him Mitt?
That one doesn't really
Tell me I'm wrong.
I am. I'm telling you you're wrong right now. What they could do is they could add another T, an E, and an N, and then it could be Mitten.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh.
It's like we're gonna make a
Massachusetts Institute of Technology, transforming English
narratives.
Yeah, narratives.
So they went to MIT to MIT.
Mitten, yeah.
There are no records that he ever attended that school.
What the fuck is this? Like,
From
all right.
egg to mitten, this guy doesn't exist.
So before that, he supposedly went to Caltech.
does he exist there?
Yeah, does Caltech think he was a student?
No,
I'm about to say, is Caltech a real school?
Why don't
records
they just
of
call
him.
it CT?
I actually have no idea. Wait, Caltech is the abbreviation because it's California Institute of Technology.
Yeah, so why not just call it CIT? Just call it KIT.
They can't have both a kit and a mitt.
Well, no, now it's mitten.
Kitten? Holy shit.
God. We're revolutionizing things tonight.
People are going to be going to college the next few years and be like, yeah, whatever the cutest name you can think of, that's the school I'm going to.
So where'd you go to school, kitten? All right, I went to Snuggle Muffin. So
So he went to Caltech. They went over there, and there are no records that he went to Caltech either.
I'm gonna need you to very swiftly tell me why I should believe this man is real.
Well, okay. So there are newspaper articles where he worked as a physicist at Los Alamos Meson Physics Facility, which is in Los Alamos. What is that, Texas?
Okay.
I don't remember.
Do they have records of him
In New Mexico. So there are actual like newspaper clippings that cite him as a physicist working at a lab in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
They went to that lab, and there are no records of him working at that lab.
I just listen, man. You were convincing me this is bullshit before we've even fucking started the crazy shit.
So none of that. All right. Well, what about the hospital that he was born at?
He wasn't born in a hospital?
Dude, they went to the hospital that his birth certificate, yeah. There are no records of him being born.
Immaculate Conception. He's Jesus.
Wait, hold on. That doesn't really prove that like his identity's been like obscured. It just proves that he's not who he says he is.
Yeah, he's just giving you
he
a
has
fake
a license.
identity. Yeah, but like a lot of people have licenses.
I also have a license.
Yeah, so do I. For like 2 weeks, mine had the wrong name on it.
Did it really?
Did you say Gregory?
Yeah, it said Gregory.
Oh
the
yeah,
correct name,
I
though?
keep forgetting.
No,
that your name
I'm
is
sorry. I'm sorry.
Gregory.
It said Tyler. It said Tyler.
Oh.
Because I think I wrote Tyler without thinking, and they just like didn't. They had my SSN, and they were just like, checks out. Now it says Gregory.
That's
My
weird.
middle name is Tyler. I go by my middle name.
And the reason for that...
Are you asking me what the reason for that is?
Sorry, I didn't phrase that like a question.
Yeah, you sound
I was
like you were
this
going to
will be a
explain it
sta-
for
yeah,
me. The reason for that is because my name is Gregory Tyler Shively.
Now we can dox him. All right, go.
They knew that already. But from what my parents have explained is my parents wanted to name me Tyler, right? But Gregory was in the family. I'm not Gregory Tyler Shively like the third. It's just that either first or middle name for a few of my ancestors were Gregory, being my father and his father. Both had Gregory in their names. So they were like, well, I want to put Gregory in the name. And they were like, well, Gregory Tyler Shively sounds better than Tyler Gregory Shively. And then they just went with it.
I'm not going to lie. I do not really think one of those names has more value over the other.
Can I be real with you?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. But they just kept calling me Tyler because that's what they wanted to name me. But they were like, it doesn't sound as good. That's it. That's the whole fucking story.
I would like to point out that although this story was a complete tangent and more or less waste of time, you did point out something very important of your driver's license can sometimes just say something else on it.
Yeah. For like 2 weeks, and I was like, I should probably say something about this. And then they're like, oh shit, dog, here's your new one. But yeah, now it's normal.
I mean, here's the thing. That might not have been a problem.
And I wasn't sure, but I was like, I'd rather have my real name on it.
It's better to be safe than sorry, especially with the government.
I'm pretty sure in California you can more or less use any name as long as they know that is the person that you're associating with.
Oh my god! So if I got a license and I was like, "Sup, my name is Tropic Thunder," I could just be Tropic Thunder.
Yes.
Wait, really?
I need to go to the DMV.
But I would actually
Have you ever heard someone excitedly saying, I need to go to the DMV?
I've never had a bad experience at the DMV. I've only been there like 3 times in my life, so maybe I just always got there on good days. But the irony of people are like, oh, we're waiting here forever. I was just like, I just had an appointment. I just walked up and...
For the record, mine was pretty quick too, but it was just like, I would hand them like paperwork and they'd be like, all right. And then they would like type on their keyboard for like 15 minutes. And they'd hand me new paperwork and they'd be like, no, you take this paperwork over to that guy. And all I could think was, why can't you send the paperwork to that guy? Why do I gotta walk over there? But like, mine was more on principle.
When I was signing up my thing, I was getting my driver's license for the first time. And I wrote my eye color down. And I wrote blue. My eye color. I was always like, well, I've always thought of it as blue. And like I'm talking to my dad and he goes, your eyes are green.
See, I had the exact opposite happen to me where I wrote green and then they were like, they're blue.
And I thought, okay,
they're not.
Wait, what?
So when you have when you're a white person with these type of eyes, what you're wearing can kind of influence what it looks like and like the lighting and stuff. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they can be more green, sometimes it can be more blue. But it's just, whatever. There's one correct one, but
my eyes are very green. And the weird thing is, apparently, I normally I'd be like, oh, blue eyes are better because everyone thinks blue eyes are sexy. Apparently, green eyes are, obviously. That's why I think they're sexy. The green eyes are apparently relatively rare as an eye color, just in general, because it's a very narrow margin of you actually having green eyes. We are not talking about the podcast, but point is,
we ever.
The thing that I always found interesting is like, oh, I'm right in the middle, so I have green eyes, meaning you'd normally have hazel or blue eyes. So I was like, well, that makes me like 20% sexier because that puts me in the exotic category. So,
all right, genuinely asking, hazel means like blue-green, right?
Hazel is like green-brown.
Okay, yeah, see, because I always assumed it was brown because a hazelnut is brown, but like every time someone has ever told me that they're like, I have hazel eyes, it's like always blue-green. So I've gotten this like weird thing in my head of like, does it just like not mean brown anymore?
But anyways, when my dad pointed that out, I was like, okay, eyes are blue-green, that's fine. And they wrote down blue, and I'm so worried that like the cop's gonna pull me over and be like, sir, you know that your eyes aren't actually blue? This is a fake license. And I'll be like, actually, they just forgot to put down the green.
And they'll be like, are you American? And you would go, yes. And they'll be like, all right.
Excuse me, officer, but I think there's been a bit of a miscommunication.
This is a bit of a sticky wicket.
I'll tell you what I say, copper.
I have friends in the UK, and I really hope they don't watch this episode.
It's okay. It's like my family is from the UK, so it's basically like It's like the white.
It's kind of cool.
All right. Now that the ridiculous tangent has
God, what was that,
literally
15 minutes of nothing?
Yeah.
It kind of was. I just realized we're at like 40 minutes.
Oh my God. If I ever write a autobiography, it's going to be called 15 Minutes of Nothing.
It's fine. You'll edit this down.
That's the opposite of your 15 minutes of fame, which is I had 15 minutes where my life sucked even more.
So Bob Lazar.
Yeah, what about him?
Please tell me about him. Please don't let me tangent any further. I don't even know how I got to the DMV.
All right. So, like, there are no records that this man ever even existed. Besides that, like, newspaper article, like, he had friends in college. All of them remember him going to college.
That's the most unrealistic part.
Right? I mean, a physicist having friends?
Ugh.
Going to college.
I hazard the thought.
Yeah, but, like, literally no records of him exist anywhere. Like, anywhere that he touches. So, let's talk about that vehicle real quick. Because he worked on a vehicle for, what was it?
The spaceship?
Yeah, the spaceship. I think he worked on that thing for, like, 15 years or something.
Jesus.
What did he say they were doing?
Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering.
Excuse me, I asked Adrian. His last name is Castro, and I know that.
Yeah, they were reverse engineering. So just, taking it apart, seeing how it works so that they could just put it back together or make a brand new one. Yeah, so that was his whole job.
I have a question of, like, if I had a computer, like if someone made a computer, and could I take it apart and be like, I understand how software works?
So I want to be real with you. You can't. Because you've not studied this for your entire life.
But I'm saying, like, if someone handed it off like an entirely alien like computer, could you actually, like, get to the point of like, I can not only know how this computer operates, but I can also see, like, the stuff inside of it?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay.
There have been plenty of times throughout history where an enemy nation makes a technology better than nation we're talking about. That object gets captured, and then,
I know how reverse engineering works. But I'm talking about specifically if I didn't know what a computer was, could I realistically have someone like reverse engineer a computer?
Potentially.
Okay.
I think potentially is like the only real answer.
Because it just feels like it's one of those things where I need, like, the transitional technology to be able to get myself there.
I have the same thing with, like, languages. Like, how did anyone translate languages to each other?
So, like, dude worked on the spacecraft for a while. He learned some things. For example, so he came out and said, like, okay.
Good for him.
Yeah, this thing, it doesn't run on gasoline. It doesn't run on any, like, fossil fuel.
Oh my God, could you imagine if UFOs ran on fucking diesel?
They're like, on our planet, it's actually quite abundant.
Hey, man.
Yeah, our atmosphere is made of smog. It's like, oh, ours too.
Yeah, that's probably why they, like, came over here.
We're like a tropical getaway.
So he came out and said this thing runs on element 115, which at the time,
oh yeah,
element 115,
because this was back in the 80s.
This was back in the 80s. Element 115 did not exist, or we didn't know that it existed.
Well, because everything past, like, a specific point on the periodic table are only elements that we've artificially made exist for, like, basically blinks of time, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Are they really blinks of time? I'm pretty sure that we...
No, okay, so some of them last longer than others, but I'm pretty sure some of them just, like Unu Numbrium or something, just like, yeah, that existed for about 7 milliseconds, and then it dissipated.
Really? Okay.
It might not be Unu Numbrium specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, this thing ran on, like, a concentrated...
Here's the thing. That element 115, I'm pretty sure, is highly radioactive. So was that an issue? Because that's a huge hole in the story if it isn't.
It wasn't an issue.
Well, we believe that
Well, all right.
basically all spaceflight is going to be nuclear powered.
But it's not nuclear powered.
It's just radio. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I had a dumb moment right there.
Well, here's the thing. Element 115 naturally is extremely radioactive.
Yeah, I know.
But this was like a concentrated...
It's like an ion.
It's yeah. So it's like a controlled version of 115. Which at the time, 115 didn't even exist. We didn't know about 115 until about 2003 when the Russians discovered it.
Well, to be fair, we know about them we can pretty much predict how an element is going to work because of how we've laid out the periodic table. So we know that we knew it was going to be a radioactive element beforehand because it was within the area of the periodic table that would have been radioactive.
But wasn't it at the point where that was just theory, though? Of like, if there's another one, it would act like this.
Yeah.
But we weren't sure if there was another one. And then the Russians were like, there it is.
Yeah. I am sure that's the case. By the way,
the name for 115, because the Russians discovered it, it is now known as Moscovium.
Isn't that what Scarlet Witch made everything out of? That was just a joke about her being Sokovian, and that wasn't even really a joke.
Anyways,
what
the reason why I was going to say, I hope my dad never listens to this because he's a chemist, and he'd probably be like, yep, that's wrong.
Probably.
Can you call your dad right now?
I could call my dad.
Can we ask him?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, call
it's
your
like
dad.
10 o'clock.
I want to ask him.
Is he awake?
I want to ask your dad, hey, what's element 115 like? Tell me all about it.
I don't want to put him on the podcast, but I will call him.
Damn.
Oh, are you actually going to call him?
I could literally, I'll send him a text and we'll see
Just text him.
Yeah, text him. That's fine.
Just text him.
Can I call your dad? I have his number.
Do you really?
No.
All right, what are we asking? Is element 150? We could have Googled this, by the way.
No,
but
but this
it's
is
objectively
more fun.
more inconvenient for everyone if we.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole point. Ask him, is element 115 radioactive, and do you think it could power a spaceship?
Is element 115 radio?
Well, all right. So here's the thing. So he said that. All right. So it's a stable isotope of 115.
Isotope. I said ion earlier.
Yeah. So it allegedly generates a gravity wave that allows the vehicle to fly. And, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
So
is this where this stems from? This theory of like,
yes.
essentially, there's this theory of how space travel works, because the only way to go faster than light is just to not be.
It's to pull reality closer to you.
Yes, it's to not be bogged down by reality, essentially. So it basically makes an artificial gravitational field around you so that you're always technically falling just in the direction you choose. But there's no resistance now because there's no like air or anything between you. I know you're giving me that look like, I don't think that's real. It's not. But
the
that's
reason why I
theory.
say that is because I'm pretty sure that people are like, gravity's not a real thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about gravity.
That's a pretty big consensus, is that gravity is more of an illusion of how we perceive what it does and not actually a real...
And like a force of nature. Yeah.
I don't know.
Thanks for your input, big guy.
Dude, I'm like 3 beers in now. So, by the way, so yeah, no stable isotopes of Moscovian have been synthesized by us yet. However, Lazar did.
Okay, so here's what I'm setting. Is element 115 radioactive? Could it be stabilized? And do you think it could power a spaceship?
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Sure.
I can't wait for him to spawn. What?
I 100% will believe that he is going to pick up his phone and be like, Jeremy just sent me the weirdest text.
So yeah, no stable isotopes of Moscovium have been stabilized yet. Because, hey, they have all been proven extremely radioactive.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Boy.
Yeah, and it decays after a few hundred milliseconds.
Yeah, okay,
that's a huge problem.
And that's
that.
my thing too, where I'm like, don't they only exist for like a blink?
Yeah, correct. So
we were both right, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, no, I would be upset if I was a listener. Like, hold on, aren't those people wrong? That's why I'm listening to this.
No, yeah. So, like, yeah, we haven't gotten a stable
just fucking
version.
ask my dad, like, hey, I know that, you're a professor of chemistry, but would you mind just proving, like, a huge scientific paper real quick for my podcast? Moscovium, no one's been able to solve it. I'm just wondering, what's your opinion? How would we do that,
And while you're at it, how do you think we can stabilize the situation in the Middle East?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this thing runs on a stable version of that. But we haven't been able to replicate it ourselves. However, Lazar did, and he
bullshit. Okay, so they have a spaceship that basically fizzles out in milliseconds.
No. He's saying that the aliens have found out how to stabilize it. Humans are big dumb poopy heads who don't know how to stabilize
I
Correct.
think that was his words, but yeah, okay.
But that's what I mean.
Well, that's the scientific term for it.
yeah.
There you
Fucking
go.
get your head out of your ass, Jeremy.
Yeah, so the aliens have figured this out. So Bob Lazar, and he came out and said this, literally just took a little bit of it. And
Show it to me.
so
but
here's the thing.
That's the actual question, right? My question is, how did you just like go like,
I thought it couldn't be torn.
no, that's the
no,
metal. That's
the
the metal.
metal.
This is the fuel source.
This is the fuel source.
How did you just go, yoink, sorry, entire United States government and whatever aliens stabilize this highly radioactive
the-
element. I'm putting that right in my coat pocket.
Here's
was-
the thing, though. His home gets raided so much. Like,
Did your phone buzz?
No, sorry. Here's the thing. One time I was working on a documentary. I wasn't like shooting it, but I was a crew member for a documentary on this fucking quack like scientist doctor who invented basically the cure to everything.
Oh, so you're working for Dr. Oz.
No, but
no, it was probably some.
I'm not gonna say who it was, but I'm fairly certain he has been on Dr. Oz before.
It's probably some chiropractor or something.
Okay, so I really don't want to like. I
Yeah,
do
no,
not
no,
want
no,
to say
no,
that.
don't worry.
Um,
We're being cunts.
But basically, his story was always like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. Like the government like blew up my car, you killed my girlfriend, stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, but here's the thing. I don't believe any of this. Like, you saying that means nothing to me.
Here's the thing, though. There are actually records that the FBI have put out that are like, oh yeah, we raided Bob Lazar's place.
Yeah, but they can just say that because Bob Lazar isn't a real fucking person, according to everyone he's ever contacted.
Eh?
Okay, that's a good point.
Like, what's this man's social security number?
Yeah, can you just tell it to me right now while I'm opening up this Chase bank account?
Here's the thing, by the way. Almost all of those raids had some like strange, like, oh yeah, we raided this place because this. We raided this place because that.
And we arrested Al Capone on tax evasion.
Yeah.
Is that what we're getting at?
Yeah. Well, apparently, one of these raids that happened in 2017 was part of a murder investigation.
It was 4 years ago.
Yeah, part of a murder investigation.
This is ongoing?
Yes.
Shit.
So it's like, why the fuck are they like, yeah, he's a crackpot. All right, if he's actually a crackpot, why do you guys keep messing with this dude?
Probably because he keeps fucking with them.
Eh?
I am now at a
victim
point
blaming?
where I'm like, okay, do you know what? He said in 2003 we developed
We
Moscovium.
found out what it was. Well, the Russians
The
did.
Yeah.
Russians discovered that it can exist, I guess, is what happened there.
Theoretically, they should all be able to exist.
Yeah, I'm also a little confused on that, but I was just kind of letting it go.
I don't fucking know, man.
They were able to make it, and they're like, it's ours. Like California has made one.
Californium?
Yeah.
Yep. Did you know that Americium is not named after that because it was invented in America, but because it was invented in a town called America?
I did not know that.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, Americium. I think it was invented in
okay, so we're
in a
up
town
to
named
118 right
America, but yeah.
Yo, 118's a nerd. They should have made it out of that one.
Yeah, 118's a fucking nerd because it sounds like a nerd. What is up with me making just like not jokes constantly now?
I think it's also the fact that we have been here for so long that you're like, this is funny, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
God damn it, we're at an hour. Anyways,
Power through.
I'll skip ahead because like whatever. So yeah,
It said like a
That's
true
what
scientist.
Who gives a shit? That's what everyone was saying.
What's he up to now?
now, well, it's
Probably getting his house raided by the FBI.
honestly most likely. So
It's so fun. Cause okay, I was like, all right, when the fuck was 115 made? Because I was wondering, was it just the most like the next one that we needed?
Like, did 114 exist? And he was like, oh, they got it from an isotope of 115.
Yeah, you guys aren't gonna see that one. But I'm looking back
But your
and
kids
it's like
are gonna love it.
your kids are gonna love it. I went to 110. That might be a normal. We might just be able to get that one because I didn't see a date created for it.
What are you doing right now?
I'm looking up
also very
when the most, looking up the closest element to 1989, just to be like, what was he like? Could he have just been like, oh yeah, like it was the next one, the one we don't have, is what the spaceship was made out of.
Well, I mean, I think literally because he said it and then it existed a few years later would imply that we were at least on like 110 or so, and then he was like, fucking 15, I guess.
The thing is that the last one we made, which is
18.
Yeah, 18, was in 2006. Like, and
so we haven't done much in 15 years, huh?
And also, like,
I shouldn't say that.
I looked, you look back and 114 was like 98. So there was like a 10-year period where we were just whipping out
elements here and there. We were all Iron Manning this shit.
All right. So yeah, all of that aside, so he claimed that throughout his tenure at Area 51, he read briefings of like historical involvement between Earth and a set of beings described as gray aliens.
Okay.
This dude does not look how I would have expected him to look.
He kind of looks like Stephen King a little.
That's what I was thinking.
Let me see Robert Lasagna.
Dude, Robert Lasagna.
Turn your phone around.
I will show. Give me a fucking time to show the photo. There. That's him?
Wow, yeah, he's like
that's
Stephen
him.
King, but nerdier.
Yeah, that's like
He
Ultimates.
literally looks
Holy
like Stephen
shit,
King.
Look at him as an old man. That's
Just a
This
picture
is
of
ju-
Stephen King,
yeah.
dude. I
thought the exact same thing the first time I saw him.
At the time of recording this, we have basically just released the Bigfoot episode, and as I was editing that one, I was reminded of that image of Bigfoot supposedly that's just clearly a fucking chimpanzee.
Oh, the bear with mange?
Yeah, but it's like someone puts out this photo, it's like, it's Bigfoot, and then I'm like, that's a chimpanzee. And then the actual association who looked at it was like, that's a bear with mange. I am like actually still a little heated about the fact that it took years for someone to be like, oh yeah, that's probably a chimpanzee. It's clearly a fucking chip.
All right. A few more things that Bob Lazar said. So he claimed that he read briefings about Earth being in association with gray aliens, and that apparently they hailed from a twin binary star system called Zeta Reticuli.
Zeta Reticuli, yeah, that checks out. That's
is that an actual thing?
Yeah, Zeta Reticuli is a system that comes up constantly in alien lore.
Yeah.
So he was talking to the tall grays, I think. Then
I'm not sure, but I know that no extrasolar planets exist in Zeta Reticuli.
Yes, and that's like a thing that comes up about like, oh, they're hidden or they're destroyed or whatever.
I don't know. But he did say that in '89, the seats of the saucer, he said, were approximately child-sized.
So maybe he was talking about the short grays? I don't know.
Maybe. So apparently he saw like alien cadavers, which like their bodies were about the size of children, but their arms were like a lot longer.
Yeah, that also checks out with gray alien lore.
Okay, so my dad just responded. He
Yay.
said 115 is Moscovium, very radioactive and unstable, not found in nature, just made a few years ago, and only a few atoms. No one knows much about its properties yet. Interesting that he said it's only been made a few years ago.
What do you mean, father? Explain yourself.
Yeah, how come you're... I didn't realize my father was in on it.
Dad, I'll have you know that Robert Lasagna says we can stabilize it. And he also conspicuously didn't answer the question of, do you think it could power a spaceship?
Well, he did in the sense when he said, I have no fucking clue because we've only ever made a few atoms. I want to imagine that when he got that text, he's just like, I don't know how I want to answer this.
It's just like, what kind of crazy shit is Jeremy up to right now? Here's not a black market deal, just like a glowing suitcase. And you're just like, hold on, before I pay you $16 million for this, I have to text my dad.
It's,
Yeah?
only, like, although it was made in 2003, only as of 2015 has it really been considered, like, did it get, like, the Moscovian name, it looks like. So they only really confirmed it as of very recently.
Jeez.
And also as of
kinda
2016, what did I just read? It was officially named after the Moscow Oblast,
Man,
wanna guess?
that's not the only Russian thing that happened in 2016. We also elected a Russian ambassador. I'm sorry,
Wow.
continue.
By the way, do you want to know the
Dude,
name it had before
In case anyone's
Moscovia?
going to get very upset by that, technically, regardless of what happened, we did elect a Russian ambassador.
We also elected a Chinese ambassador
Yeah.
and a Mexican ambassador and a Canadian ambassador.
We didn't vote on it personally, but if you're upset with that sentence, there was someone that was more than likely put up for election as a Russian ambassador. You don't need to be getting upset. You're wrong.
By the way,
God, is that not the tagline of 2020? Says you don't need to get upset, you're wrong.
by the way, do you want to guess the name of 115 before it was named Moscovia?
Spaceshipium?
No.
Lazarnium?
No. So apparently they went the Avatar route.
It's unobtainium.
Almost. It's unapentium.
Oh, you can't append it?
Well, aren't a lot of those like later ones Unu and Una like something? Like the one I always remember is Unu Numbrium. I don't remember which one it is, but I know that's what they call it.
It's something in Latin.
Well, the thing that I also like.
Why is it whenever I like turn to Jeremy to talk to you, you just give me a fucking deadpan stare like, shut up.
In my defense, I was more like, oh, he's continuing this. Like I was just engaged in what you were saying. I sometimes worry that I have like instead
Resting
of
bitch face?
It's not resting bitch face, like resting serial killer stare.
just this episode and the last episode we filmed today, there have been so many moments where I say something to Jeremy, he looks at me, turns to Adrian and goes, anyway. And it is killing me inside because it's funny and also a little hurtful.
What I was going to say is I learned relatively recently that apparently unobtainium is a generic sci-fi thing.
Yeah, it's like the sci-fi version of like adamantium or mithril.
Yeah, which is one of those things of it's like, oh, that I feel better about that. To be fair, I never gave a shit about that. Everyone's like, oh, I can't believe they called it unobtainium. It's like, yeah, you know what? They could literally call it whatever they want.
Yeah, it's also like, that's the only heavy-handed thing you're mad about in this movie? Are you fucking kidding me?
Apparently, there might have unobtainium is a loose term for like things like Moscovium that are hard to get to. It's like oh yeah, we call it unobtainium because we can't fucking make enough of it.
So yeah, I'm just gonna power through it. So Bob Lazar, I mean, he is a conspiracy theorist, but he has predicted 115.
But like, did he?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
We could.
Yeah, because back to what Jeremy was saying, like, he knew there was going to be a 115. He knew it was going to be radioactive.
I mean, even if he also didn't even say it was radioactive, literally, I'll predict one right now: 300.
Yeah, I do. That's what all spaceships are going to run on.
We will have a 300 element at some point, and in the future, like 400 years, 10,000 years from now, let's be honest, they're going to be like, that guy predicted that pretty well.
So some insect man is going to be like, that Jeremy guy was ahead of his time.
We can barely understand what he says, but it seemed like it was factually inaccurate.
But I mean, it still
Jeremy
does
is wrong in all
stand.
languages.
It still just he did technically predict it 20 years before it actually happened.
Sure.
Not only that, but like, okay, so the way that he says that these flying saucers fly.
Did he come up with the concept of a flying saucer?
Well, he did not.
No. Flying saucers were an idea since like the 40s, I think.
Yeah.
I just him being like Area 51's a thing. I would fucking blow my mind if it was like another.
No. Well, flying saucers. I mean, they're like, what's that movie? Something Planet 9.
Plan 9 from Outer Space.
There we go.
Were you about to say Deep Space Nine?
I was,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the concept of flying saucers has been around for decades.
Yeah.
However, in most of those, like in most of media, the way that we think it, they're flying like straight, like parallel to the ground. However, he was the one, so he is the one who, so it kind of flies belly up.
So if you place your hand like you're doing the Macarena, you know what I mean? Like just palm down.
Okay.
If you take your hand and you point your fingers towards the sky, he's saying that they fly like that.
Yeah.
Fly bottom first is basically what we're saying.
Yeah,
Or
because
top.
yeah, and I did write the science, but I'm not going to go through it because
that's kind of fucking stupid. But I was just thinking like, I could see how that would work.
Yeah, the way with the most wind resistance.
But also at the same time, like if it's taking off like that, I can see it tilting forward and then it's
Yeah,
pushing,
like the Slave One.
Sure. Yeah.
The weirdest ship in Star Wars.
That's the best ship in Star Wars.
I didn't say it wasn't. I just said it was also.
I mean, it's
the
also
weirdest
very
ship.
strange.
My favorite ship, more tangents, is the YT-2400. We're not going to talk about it, but that's what it is.
I don't know what it is, but Google it.
Yeah.
It does sound weird. However, I don't know if you know this, but the Pentagon recently declassified some footage from alleged UFOs. Like they do not know.
How recent?
Last year.
Oh.
Yeah. Funny enough, the person who like leaked these videos, because these videos have been around for like 5 years or something. The person who leaked them.
Donald Trump.
No, stranger than that.
Are you
Vladimir Putin?
Are you talking about Tom DeLonge?
Yes, Blink-182, former frontman of Blink-182, Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, he runs. Yeah, Tom DeLonge took all of his money from Blinks 1 through 182, and he was like, "What if I just said UFOs are real?" And so he founded the From the Stars Academy, which you remember that video from a few years ago, where it was like military footage from an airplane, and it just showed like a weird shape, and it just fucking sped off, and they like chased it for a while. That was from the Stars Academy. Tom DeLonge.
Like they
leaked
recorded
it.
Oh, they leaked it.
They got the footage and leaked it.
And at first they were like, "Oh no, like that's fake." But the Pentagon recently declassified that piece of footage and
said,
2 others.
Yeah, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we don't know what these were, but it's actual footage." Yeah.
Yeah, and those crafts fly exactly the way that Bob Lazar
said.
All right, I guess I'm looking that up.
Yeah.
Also, just a fun thing about the From the Stars Academy, they currently been subcontracted by the United States government because they said that they successfully reverse engineered a UFO, and so and various other technologies, including laser guns, gravity engines, and the hulls of the spaceship they can just like make from virgin material, and so the United States government was like, "Yeah, we'll pay you for that information." Now that's not as interesting when you recognize that the United States government does that with fucking anything, really. They don't super need proof, but if they're like, on the off chance this is a real thing, yeah, we'll pay for it.
Oh, is that what happened?
Kind of, yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so that footage was declassified, and it flies almost exactly how Bob Lazar said it would.
I feel like that is an interesting depiction of events. Because looking at this looks like a regular plane with motion blur dragging the wings into a disc shape.
It's because those cameras aren't meant to be here's a high fidelity image. It's a tactical thing.
Fucking put like a GoPro on that bitch. Every fucking time I see any goddamn footage, they're just like, "Oh, sorry, we caught it with a camera that sucks." Where's the camera that's good?
There's a weird thing with various cryptids where, like, for example, Bigfoot, I might have said this on the show at one point, but Bigfoot's like, oh, let's say Bigfoot is an alien because everything's an alien. Bigfoot actually has a device on him that jams like cameras and electronic devices so that you can't take good pictures of him. So literally, I 100% agree with you where it's like, all right, so where was like the fucking camcorder? What are you talking about? Pull out your goddamn phone, dumbass.
That would be me. I'd be like, all right, everything. All right, I got my phone out. We got we got like the missile tracker or whatever this is we're using to keep track, and now we got my phone. And for some reason, my phone is even better than the $150 billion camera.
You have to remember to lick your thumb and rub it all over the camera first so it gets a nice natural Gaussian blur on it.
As soon as we do that, the plane's just like, just for no reason, we're going to go up and down in really steadily pacing movements.
Yeah, it's like everyone who has ever taken a video of something has like, what is the shaky hand Parkinson's? And the camera's always like Cloverfielding. It's like, it's not hard, just like hold it straight. You know what I mean?
If I was the government, I wouldn't be like, Tom DeLonge, here's a bunch of money. I'd be like, Tom DeLonge, here's a bunch of fucking cameras. Like, I don't give a shit what you do with it. If you find anything, send it our way, but use these cameras.
Was there more about Bob Lazar?
I mean, all right, to wrap this episode up, there are other technologies that he predicted. Like, I'm not going to name them all because...
Predicted element 116.
He was like, one day we're going to have vehicles that drive a little faster.
No, like, technologies like... There's a technology that recently came out that's like... It like pinches you. It takes a little bit of your bone marrow to like actually like just confirm that you are you. That recently came out, and he talked about that shit in '89.
To be fair, I feel like that's one of those things of you could probably have done that in '89 if you took a sample of it and put it into a big ass rotary computer machine that took up 50 rooms.
Exactly, right.
But so him being like, "Hey, one day you're gonna be able to do that with something in your hand," is not a huge stretch of a technology.
I mean, like George Orwell predicted a fucking 1,000 things, but he didn't see a goddamn alien.
Yeah, he was like,
"Hey, we don't know
one day
that.
there will be cameras," and we were just like, "There's cameras now.
Shit, there's gonna be cameras everywhere. We'd never become a surveillance state." Oh, what was that? Surveillance state? Neat. birds that are actually drones with cameras in them? Sick.
Is that a thing?
I believe in China, yes.
That's cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they're like birds that are like perched on trees, but they're actually fake birds.
But they don't
cameras.
like fly.
I thought you were
think
implying that
I think
someone's flying a bird.
I think there are some, but they fly like really high up, so you can't really tell.
Oh,
But it looks like a
that
bird.
bird's not flapping its wings. It has a propeller on its beak.
What a strange new species.
no, but yeah, I mean, like, he is a conspiracy theorist. He has predicted some stuff that a lot of people like say vindicate him. However, I don't fucking know.
Sounds like a hack to me, if I'm being honest.
The
I
thing-
want to believe this guy, but
yeah, it's one of those things of he can't just tell me things that he's done.
yeah, right. Like I need something solid from you, buddy.
Like, even like the fact that he never doesn't have like a birth certificate for some reason.
Yeah, just the beginning of how you were explaining, like he said he worked here, he didn't. He said he went to school here, he didn't. He said that he was born here,
Not
he
that
wasn't.
he didn't. It's that there's no records of him.
But that
means he didn't.
like
You don't know that.
Legally, it means he didn't.
Maybe it's the government covering it up.
All right, this was cracking open a cryptid, and
Crack open a cryptid.
all right, that's not. I haven't said. Hey guys, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know what show I'm on.
Send help. They have me captured. They won't
Are
let
you
me out of
telling
this
me
room.
this isn't cracking open a cryptid?
This
That
is-
thing I've been saying every single time I've
He
introduced
has
the show?
been saying it
Every single time. Yeah, it's crack open a cold one.
Yeah, but we're cracking open.
No, you just
cold
you
one.
crack open a cold one with the boys.
Yeah, that's this is the current tense.
And now we're gonna crack open a cryptid with the boys.
Yeah, we're cracking it open, that's for sure.